On the morning of November 10, 2008, a seemingly peaceful Kentucky town was rocked by a brutal and mysterious murder. James "Jim" Carl Duckett Jr., a well-respected Army veteran, was found bound and stabbed to death in his home by his sister. After spending November 8th shopping and visiting his sister's family, Jim turned down an invitation from friends that evening, as he had plans to attend church and go horseback riding with his girlfriend the next day. However, when Jim, who typically spoke with his sister Catherine every day, didn't call her the following day, she became concerned. Catherine grew even more anxious when she learned that Jim hadn't attended church. She and her other sister Rebecca tried repeatedly to contact him. By the evening, when they still hadn't heard from him, Catherine decided to drive out to Jim's home. When Catherine arrived, she noticed that his truck was gone. Although nothing inside seemed disturbed at first, she did notice that the bedroom window screen appeared to have been tampered with. Jim's bed was uncharacteristically messy. His dog, Bo, was unharmed, so Catherine assumed Jim might have gone out with his girlfriend and simply forgotten his phone. On November 10th, Catherine returned to Jim's house, and again his truck was gone. As she went inside, she discovered grass on the floor, holes in the walls, and Jim's cowboy boots lying on the ground. Tragically, in the bathroom, Catherine found Jim dead. His body was bound to a chair, and he had been stabbed multiple times. The bathroom was covered in blood, and Jim had clearly been dead for hours. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office responded to the scene and found that Jim had been tortured before his death, bound to the chair, beaten, stabbed, and his throat slit. Jim's truck, a 2004 Dodge Ram, was missing from the crime scene, but was later recovered near a Fifth Third bank in Shelbyville, about 5 miles from his home. Surveillance footage from the bank's ATM revealed that someone had used Jim's debit card to withdraw all the money in his account around 3 a.m. on November 9th. The individual in the footage was difficult to identify due to a blurry camera lens, which showed someone wearing a long-sleeved flannel shirt and possibly a dark beanie. Investigators learned that only a week before his murder, Jim's home had been robbed. A small box of jewelry had been stolen, with the thief seemingly knowing exactly what to take and where it was located. Jim had installed a security system. Unfortunately, it had not been activated on the night of the murder. Investigators theorized that the killer, or killers, tortured Jim for his ATM information before slitting his throat. While the crime appeared financially motivated, the level of violence suggested a personal vendetta. There were no signs of forced entry, raising suspicions that the killer might have known Jim or used the dog door to gain access. Several theories emerged about potential suspects, including a former friend of Jim's who had a history of theft and violent behavior. This friend had stolen Jim's debit card in 2006 and had been ordered to pay restitution, which they stopped paying just months before the murder, only to resume payments shortly after Jim's death. In 2012, it was revealed that the killer had taken a trophy from the crime scene, but investigators have not disclosed what the item was. The brutality of Jim's murder has led some to speculate that it was tied to other unsolved cases, particularly that of Al Kite, a man in Aurora, Colorado, who had been similarly tortured and murdered in 2004. Both men lived alone, were bound, tortured, and killed in their own homes, and both had their vehicles stolen and used by their killers to withdraw money from ATMs. Despite these similarities, no definitive connection has been established. It has been almost 15 years since Jim Duckett Jr. was brutally murdered, and the identity of the person or persons responsible remains unknown.